It's YGO Strats Yu-Gi-Oh! Single Card History, where I'm going to be talking about some of the cards that have impacted Yu-Gi-Oh! Throughout the years, and some of the others that just didn't. Today's card, my own personal least favorite level 4 monster in the game, Fairy Tail Snow. Snow was first released in The Dark Illusion in August of 2016 as a short print. As of this video, it has received 3 reprints, first in OTS Pack 5 in 2017 as a super rare, and again in the 2017 Megatins in 2017, you won't believe it, as a common. Its most recent print as of this video is in OTS Pack 19, once again as a common. It did a brief stint on the ban list here in the TCG, going from unlimited straight to banned on the January 2019 ban list, where it stayed until the February 2022 ban list, where it was put to limited status. And as of this video, it has been there since, though I would not be surprised to see it jump back up to 2 or even 3 in the soon enough future. A level 4 light attribute spellcaster type monster with 1850 attack and 1000 defense, its effect reads: if this card is normal or special summoned, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. Change it to face-down defense position. If this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, you can banish 7 other cards from your hand, field, and or graveyard, special summon this card. I started this video saying that this is one of my least favorite cards, and I really do mean it. One of my good friends plays Lightsworn, and this card gives me war flashbacks from 2016 through to 2018, and now again most recently in the year of our Lord 2022, now that it's back at 1. It's funny to think that a monster effect that's really just Book of Moon could be such a problem, but the real reason this card is so good is similar to the reason Zeus is, which again, I find it funny to think that furry Snow White could be on par with Yu-Gi-Oh's favorite Gundam, emphasis on the dumb, because despite the glaring physical differences, the two cards share one key trait. They are not once per turn, and more than that, they're not even once per chain. That means you can play Snow around cards that would otherwise play around Snow by simply chaining it. Or more simply put, if a player activates Snow's effect in the grave to summon itself, and the opponent chains, say, a Called by the Grave or a Ghost Bell or something, the Snow player can then use Snow's effect again to summon it out before the chain resolves, and they get the end result they were going for, making it so the opponent just loses their disruption for no reason. Granted, this will require the turn player to banish a minimum of 14 cards from the hand, field, or grave, but as is often the case in Yu-Gi-Oh!, sometimes you just need one more piece of disruption to stop the opponent, and Snow can be that one more piece. It even reminds me somewhat of Pot of Desires, in that a new player might see the cost and deem it to be too much for too little, but once you play with it, you'll realize just how good Fairy Tail Snow can be. In terms of disruption, flipping a monster face down on a turn that it has declared an attack, already changed its battle position, or was initially summoned on that turn means it can't be flipped face up again, and that's a very good way to end a combo. Since set monsters can't be used as material for a Synchro, Xyz, or Link summon, which are 3 very good and very strong extra deck types that just about every extra deck is using at least one of. Booking a tuner monster can keep the opponent off of Hulk. Booking a monster in the battle phase means that by summoning Snow you can effectively stop 2 attacks from the opponent, flipping one monster face down and then being a body to block the other one, and keep you alive for another turn to try and win. And on the offensive, having Snow in grave when pushing for game means you can banish materials from the hand or grave, or even the monsters you've already attacked with as a means to push for that last bit of damage. 1850 isn't a small amount of damage for an extra punch when you take into consideration the fact that Access Code regularly can put in 5300 damage by itself, and just the number of 3k attack monsters that every archetype in the game either has as a boss monster or uses as a solid end board piece. And that's not even mentioning the fact that since Snow banishes face up, it can actually help you in a number of decks in a number of different ways. Banishing Thunder Dragon monsters to summon it can get you 2 bodies on the field, as well as a card added to your hand. Banishing a Giant Rex to summon this can make for an easy link too, and since they're both level 4, you can also overlay them into, say, a Minerva for more milling to fuel more Snow plays and to help set up the graveyard in your deck, since Lord knows the number of decks that just love to play with a fat graveyard. It's a card that slots in beautifully beautifully to just about any chaos strategy, being a light monster that works as a good discard for chaos space, and being level 4 means that with Raiden it can make for an easy chaos ruler as means to mill more cards and get things in your hand. This card was good enough to be banned once upon a time, and is limited at the making of this video for a reason. In its Prime and Thunder Dragon decks, not only could this card banish a Roar or a Dark for free summons and searches like I mentioned, but it could also banish Eclipse Wyverns in your grave for plays as well, which meant getting more dragons to your hand thanks to the effect of said Eclipse Wyverns. This meant the simple act of activating Snow's effect to summon it could net you a +3 or 4 by itself. Even now at 1, with Thunder Dragon being out of the meta, it's still seeing play in top deck lists as a great card in adventure and punk pile decks in general, serving as one of modern Yu-Gi-Oh's good cards in present day good stuff decks. In decks that run through a lot of cards over the course of their turns, whether it's monsters that function only as materials with no real plan to use them once they hit the grave, or if it's just the majority of spell and trap cards that have no grave effect, Snow's an easy fit. Banish all of your emergency teleports and infinite impermanences with reckless abandon, and then go for the monsters or other noteworthy things when the opponent foolishly tries to chain DD Crow or something. The ability to banish from field and hand also helps, since cards that are still face up and not serving a purpose can also make for easy banish targets as well. Once upon a time, my friend would regularly banish face-up Brilliant Fusions that were left face-up on the field, and cards like World Chalice Guard Dragon, whose main purpose is to revive a dragon, can be easy fuel if you don't care about the other effects those cards on your field might have. As I've said, this is one of my least favorite cards, but not because it's phenomenally broken or anything, it just ticks enough boxes for it to be annoying for some of my decks. The 1850 attack means it can not only get over a number of cards, but also makes the math when battling it just take half a second longer. And it's even worse if I'm playing Solemn Judgment against this, because then the numbers get real funky real quick. Its lack of a once per chain makes my called bys and DD Crows feel useless, and its Book of Moon effect has been enough to stop a comeback on my turns more than enough times for me to be salty. And I just gotta throw in my own personal headcanon here, but if Zeus has a pilot, it is definitely Snow. The only connection between these two monsters is the lack of a once per chain, but I don't care. That is enough for me to know that this is the truth in my heart, and you could not convince me otherwise. Overall, this is an absolute nuisance of a card, and I mean that in the best possible way. It's a flexible tool that can help you both offensively and defensively, dodges disruption by itself, and thanks to the fact that cards will continue to get effects when banished, it's one that will most certainly continue to not just be good, but even great in future formats. And so that's our look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Single card history, Fairy Tail Snow. Stay tuned for our next video, and feel free to suggest some cards to review or what type of video you'd like to see. Don't forget to like, and as always, subscribe to YGO Strats, so you too can become a true duelist.